my skinny girls regularly call me. It's one of the most common concerns is travel. And it could be business travel, where you regularly travel for business. It could be traveling with your kids. It could be a vacation. I'm going to Paris or Italy. How can I possibly go to Italy without eating? Any of these scenarios are possible, and they kind of require a different conversation, but so I'll kind of go through both. First of all, you don't eat sugar and flour. It doesn't matter if you're in Paris or Paris, France, or Paris, California. You just don't eat it. If you were allergic to strawberries, it wouldn't matter if you went to the strawberry capital of the universe, you wouldn't eat strawberries. So I've been to Italy fat, and I've been to Italy skinny. And when I was fat, I ate all the food in Italy, and it was great, and it tasted great, and it was wonderful, but I didn't like to walk around as much. I didn't feel as sexy. I didn't have as much fun. I was very limited by my weight and my self-esteem and the clothes I wore and what I was willing to do. So when I went to Italy thin, yeah, of course, when, I saw the gelato shop, I wanted gelato. But I knew that I was also going to take a 15-mile hike that I would have never done. I knew I wouldn't even be in Italy the second time had I not lost the weight, because I was, madly in love and on a wonderful honeymoon, let's say, for instance. You know that, when you go to bed that night, you feel great. When you wear your sexy clothes, you're feeling good. All of these things are a completely different experience when you're in Italy. So you have to remember, it's not just I'm not eating pasta carbonara. My whole experience there is completely different. My experience as Tiffany in Italy, as a skinny girl, is completely different. Yes, it sucks not to eat the pasta, but compared to what I've got instead. So it's so important that you remember that, and it's back to the grief issue, but that you remember you can never have both. If you could have both, you would have, but you can't. So you have to remember, anytime you see something when you're traveling that you want, that the reason you're not doing that is because you have something else. Now, besides for the psychology of it, the details of it, it's always possible. First of all, as we've already talked about, I'm sure it's in the book, you always have to bring your crackers with you. There's no situation where you can't find protein or vegetables. Anywhere you go, anywhere in the world, you can find a protein or vegetable. Sometimes you can't find a clean grain. So you should always have your Marigon crackers or your Rye Crisp in your purse. On an airplane, in a hotel, in an airport, in Paris, in France, in Mexico, anywhere you go, you can find meat and vegetables. So as long as you have your carbs in your purse, you're good to go. And you know the details of that. The important thing to remember is, if you use travel as an excuse to go off the plan, I promise you with 100% certainty, with no wishy-washiness, that if you go off the diet when you're in Italy, you will go off the diet within a month of being back home. Because this is how it works. You're in Paris. I was in Paris, and I'm in the croissant shop. 10 years on plan. And I started thinking about the croissant, and it smells so good, and I start thinking to myself, well, come on, 10 years, clearly I'm cured. What am I going to do? Go eat a croissant and then go nuts? And I knew I wouldn't. I would have one croissant, maybe not even a whole one, maybe a bite, and I'd be perfectly fine. And I'd spend the rest of my trip in France feeling like so great. See, I'm cured. I was fine. And then I would go home. And then in a month, it would be a wedding. And I said, wow, I was okay in France with one bite of croissant, so I could have a little wedding cake. It's something special. And then I'd have the wedding cake and I'd be fine. Just maybe 2 bites, but still, I'm totally fine. And then in a month, it would be my anniversary. Well, I did fine with the cake, and I did fine. I'm cured, so I'll have a little, this wonderful dessert. And then it's 2 weeks, and it's a birthday party. And then it's 1 week, and it's another, special appetizer. And then it's every day, and then I'm fat again. That's how it works every time. And you remember, this is how it worked every time you ever tried to diet before. So whatever you do, do not use travel as an excuse to take that first bite. Because if you do, you'll be fat again within a year, I guarantee it, period. No exceptions.